Hi, so today we're going to start our new discussion with Parvesh. Here we're going to discuss about how to work on your any specific project related to your design work, how to work on the inspirations, your color, your print, everything related to the direction of the new project, how you can start working on your initial inspirations, all the stuffs related to the project, that how we need to work on the project that could bring the benefits to organization. So everything we're going to discuss in this topic. So I'm gonna welcome Parvesh to discuss on this topic. Let's start. Yeah, hi Parvesh.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Hi.
So we have already discussed a lot of things related to your initial college journey, your
Mm.
uh,
Yes.
career, and everything related to that. So
Yes.
today our discussion will move into a very important topic, that is how we should start working on our project. Suppose that if somebody is working in a company, or even if they are working independently for a new design concept or anything related to the new seasonal development of the product, so all we need to discuss here. So the stage is now yours. So let's start with the first question: how to start, what is the first step to start working on your project? So from where you should start first? So suppose that you are working on your organization and the new project, new topic that you need to develop. So how you actually starts? So what is your experience in that?
Basically, uh, everything starts from research work. Even if we wanted to put up a collection, let's say after 6 months or 3 months, maybe. So before that, we start our initial research work. In our case, since I'm a couture designer, in my case, I do all of the research work regarding the textiles, different kind of textiles of India, and from those I see which one is closest to my heart, or which one I can represent uh, in a more creative way, and that also depends on the seasonal collections that I'm going to present. And uh, on the in the same research work, I have to take care of the colors as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say research work on the textile, let's say for an example, uh, chintz. Chintz are chintz. The artwork chintz itself is used by many designers, and it is a very beautiful interpretation of colors in flowers, basically.
Yeah.
So just like that, we have many textiles around India, around the world. So we basically start off with selecting a textile. Then we do some research work, or we brainstorm some silhouettes that we wanted to present, and then starts our real work. Okay, how are we going to present those uh, textile artworks in my selected silhouettes that I have created or taken inspiration from? Then we see the colors, that which garment is going to look better in what colors. So basically, these are the nitty gritty of starting up with a new collection.
So basically the question is, it's, I'm making it a little bit more complex for you now. The reason is that I got your answer in a very simplified manner, so our viewer might get confused. Like everything is quite quick and fast.
It was very brief, yes, sir.
Yeah, and this topic is not that quick. It's
Okay.
not that much that we can answer it very in a very simplified way. So suppose that you are starting to work for your next monthly collection
Hmm.
for your brand or wherever you are working. So there's a demand that you need to refresh a new collection. So most probably you might be working on a new theme, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
So now I'm gonna rephrase the question. How you gonna work on your new theme? How you decide the new theme? So suppose that in the
Okay.
previous season you have worked on a different theme, and the next season that came into your mind, now you need to work on new theme. So how you decide the theme, and then how you start working on your theme's initial concept.
Basically, there are many factors that affects the collection, and it also depends on how your previous collection had worked very well or not so well. And also we will see, we'll have the look in some of many silhouettes that worked so good for our previous collection, and we will also have a look at those silhouettes that have not been worked so well.
Mhm.
We actually study those silhouettes, okay, what has worked well and what not. Basically, if I see a silhouette A which has worked more and silhouette B which has not worked quite well, so we study what were the main factors. It
Mhm.
can be any prints, it can be a silhouette, it can be fabric, or it can be costing of the garment.
Mhm.
So we have to take care of all the factors before starting up a collection. So let's say if our collection is consist of 60 garments,
Mhm.
and in those 60 garments, we further divide those that collection into many pieces. Firstly, like for example, if I'm right now I'm working in a brand called Kalista. So
Mhm.
we are a print-based brand, print-based
Mhm.
luxury pet brand. We cater in many styles. So, firstly, we study previous season sales and the costing of the garments. Then, taking the inspiration from those silhouettes that have worked well, then initially we do our research work. Then we start then we start our research work of the textile. Which
Mhm.
textile we wanted to cover this particular season,
Mhm.
and also that we also have to take in care of that particular silhouette, or sorry, that particular textile is not being uh, done by many designer in previous season,
Mhm.
right? Or it will just look the inspired collection of some designer from the
Mhm.
previous collection. So
Mhm.
after taking the inspiration or studying the textile, then we start selecting the fabrics. What kind of fabric will look good for this collection? So let's, for an example, there are four seasons fashion in fashion industry, right? And for India, we have four seasons. So let's say if I'm making collection for spring summer, so my fabric selection is going to be a little different from the seasonal collection of autumn winter,
Mhm.
right? So accordingly, we take care of the fabrics, keeping in mind the season. And once our fabric has been selected, then we move forward to the silhouettes.
Mhm.
Also, selection of the fabrics, uh, costing plays a major role in that. Each
Mhm.
each brand has their own USP of selling a particular kind of garment in certain price range. If we exceed more than that, one or two garments from per collection, it's okay. But if every garment of yours is exceeding the price range of your collection, then it's
Mhm.
of no use. Because ultimately, uh, each brand is each brand has been categorized in the market according to their price range.
Mhm.
So we have to take care of that as well. So once our fabric has been selected, the textile has been thoroughly researched, then we come across with silhouettes and the color of it.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
accordingly,
so yeah, so basically, sorry to cut you off.
no, no,
So you might be working on any specific theme, right?
yes,
So how you start working on the theme? So basically, let's go one by one. So it will be a little bit more simple to understand for our viewers. So suppose that you have selected a particular theme, and based on those theme, you'll be deciding the colors, the fabric, the prints,
Yes.
and everything related to that. So the question is how you work on your theme, from where you get the inspiration, from where you start working on finding the theme or anything related to that. What are the methods that you do the research for your theme, from where you get the idea connected to your theme. So let's get into it.
Basically, what I feel is in my entire uh, career, what I feel is working on a collection is just like solving a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
We start off with a certain inspiration, and firstly, and the inspiration and the silhouette, it works hand in hand.
Yeah.
You have an inspiration of a textile, but then you have to brainstorm the certain silhouettes. For those silhouettes, you have to, like, I have to study the current market trends of the
Mm-hmm.
silhouette. If I'm making a sari, so what kind of a sari are more visible in the market right now? What actress
Mm-hmm.
or what actresses are wearing what kind of a saris or any silhouettes? So all of the this is a major part of our research work. We always have to be connected with current trends. So once we go through the current trends, then I make a simple sketch of a particular garment that I wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
Again, then it is my job to somehow uh, you know uh, fix in the those textile parts into that particular garment, whether it be a print or
Mm-hmm.
an embroidery. Each part or each sketch or each inspiration has to fit rightly so that my garment looks beautiful. Let's first say if I make a buta of a very beautiful flower that I know will look very good on a ghera of a lehenga, right, on the lower part of a lehenga. But if I put that thing on the chest of a particular garment, that won't look nice because that would be an emphasis to the garment, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a puzzle. It's like solving a puzzle. You have to make sure that each design uh, element has to fit right, whether let it be a color or your sketch or your fabric or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
this thing goes hand by hand. It's like the amalgamation of everything that comes at the end of your collection.
Mm-hmm. So basically, like we have discussed last time on your project related to the Padmavat, you have gone through too many, books connected to the history. You gone
Yes.
through the internet. You gone through the libraries. So this is what exactly I mean. Like, so you have selected one of the theme. So theme might be Padmavat or maybe something new that is in demand. Based on the trend you have selected the theme, and then your job is to convert those theme into the product,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So how you extract the basic attributes connected to the theme. So basically, suppose that you thought of working on the Padmavat movie, and you had to find the prints, the
Yes.
texture, the materials, and everything like that. So how you decided that okay, I should be focusing on this particular stuff, this particular kind of prints, this color.
Okay, now I get it. Now I get it.
Yeah.
So I was actually
So we're gonna
correctly
move
thinking.
first with the your theme selection,
Actually,
irrespective of this
yes.
Padmavat. Suppose that any
Act-
other project that you want to work.
Actually, we after doing all the studies and all the research work, it's my job to make up. It's like a presentation where we make a theme board and we make a look board and we
Yeah.
make a print board. So it's like. a presentation for your entire team that has been uh, done by the seniors of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So for myself, when I research on a particular theme, I see what are the factors that is going to be uh, what are the factors that I can extract from a particular um, textile. Then again, I make a theme board,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can visualize, like I can visualize in my head, but none of my team members knows okay, what I am thinking inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I firstly we make a theme board, or
Mm-hmm.
some people call it mood board. Like mood
Mm-hmm.
board will decide the entire feel of your collection.
Mm-hmm.
That will consist of the colors, whether you're going to make the collection a very pastel ones, or you're going to choose very darker colors, or it can be a neon collection based on neon colors. So
Mm-hmm.
accordingly, that will be your mood of the collection. Then we come up with a theme board. Like theme board will basically tells you about the uh, about your collection look. Like what it's basically just a poem or a story described by pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the soul of your collection. In this direction, we have to
Mm-hmm.
move forward. In
Mm-hmm.
those theme board, we uh, come up with many pictures that we wanted to uh, like get the collection inspired from, or it
Mm-hmm.
can be any architecture. It
Mm-hmm.
can be any picture that you see in very inspiring colors. Inspiration can come from anywhere, but
Mm-hmm.
if you are leading your team, it's your job that your teammates or your colleagues are on the same page as you are.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it is my job to tell them what is going inside my head and where we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to take this collection forward.
So, is
then
there any
then
contradiction between your teammates? Like, so sometimes what happens? Okay, this particular theme we have selected, and these are the inspiration. So there might be some kind of misjudgment, contradictions, kind of stuff. So how you solve it during this process?
oh, that actually that is the fun part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe any person in the world is such that his or her themes or mood boards get selected in one go. I don't think
Hmm.
so. Because see, we are creative people. Everyone has a different mindset or different aspirations. Or I might not be seeing the things that any other person is seeing right now. He might be able to come up with a better suggestion with the themes for that can proven good for my theme, right? Everyone is living in their own world. Everyone is it's getting inspired from things around them.
Hmm.
Let's for an example, like in previous season, there was a very famous series on Netflix called Emily in Paris.
Hmm.
So when I was working in Ritu Kumar, most of the people were getting inspired from that, because uh, that was the most binging uh, series that was going around, and girls were just in love with that series. But on the other hand, I was like I'm a kind of a person who don't really get inspired from seeing other people's work. My
Hmm.
point of inspiration, I usually derive my inspiration from nature itself, be it shape, be it colors, be it anything like that. So yes, there are many conflicts, there are many changes. Our one collection or one theme board gets selected by at least minimum three or four changes, and that is good, right? Because after all, we are a team. Everyone
Hmm.
suggests their points. Everyone um uh, give their pointers on the colors, on the silhouettes. Maybe I do not know the silhouettes, or maybe I'm not much aware about the current trends of the market that
Hmm.
the other person of my team is. So yes, the answer to the question is there are conflicts, and that is the most interesting part, because ultimately
Hmm.
we all are learning from it.
Hmm. So basically, there are so many things to manage during this inspiration process. The reason is that there is a trend in the market,
Yes,
and as you said, like you do not like to follow the designs from some movies, or you want
yes.
to have something very unique. So here, the question is like, most of the time, designers are not able to actually capture the consumer's mindset. They might be feeling, okay, whatever they're doing, could be right. They think that whatever the design they are actually working on, it might work. So how you solve this puzzle actually? This is actually not a easy to solve puzzle, since you need to be creative at the same time, and you need to be thinking of the company organization's profit as well. So how you actually take care of all these things?
You know, I personally feel times have changed now.
Hmm.
You can't just survive in the market if you are just going to be a very artistic designer. We
Hmm.
ultimately have to see that whatever product that we are making, it
Hmm.
needs to be sell.
Hmm.
If we are not selling, then there is no earnings, or then there is no profits coming out from that. So yes, uh, this is the time where a designer needs to be very artistic at one place, and he or she needs to be taking care of the uh, product that he or she is selling.
Hmm.
So in back of our head, our ultimate goal is selling the product, right? So we have to
Yeah.
be creative, but in under certain framework, so that
Hmm.
um, if we are making and it's not a guarantee that every product we make is going to sell off from the rack, but the ratio can differ every time. Like for last season, if I say, if uh, a person is making a collection and is 60% or 70%, if you achieve 70% of a good selling record of your garment, then it's a good thing, right? And
Hmm.
if you can surpass that in this current collection, then I can say one is improving his
Hmm.
creative work as well as uh, the responsibilities of our organization. So we
Hmm.
have to keep in mind both of the things. We have to be creative, and
Hmm.
plus we have to take in care of the sellability of the garment as well.
Hmm.
And then it comes a part where we make certain garments just to uplift the brand image. Those are
Hmm.
not for selling. That can
Okay.
be that can be worn by celebrities just to
Hmm.
uplift the image of the garment. Uh, Usually a PR. This is just a PR
Okay.
stunt, just to enhance the brand image in the market.
So
So
basically, you are telling you also work on a particular collection that could not be kind of wearable kind of garment
yes,
actually.
part of a particular collection. Yes, it
Yeah,
has
so
to be. It
basically
has to be.
just to create a buzz in the market,
Yes,
like, and so we have seen some celebrity working wearing something that looks kind of very weird, eh?
yes,
This kind of style. Okay, so this is a very important thing for our viewer to understand. Not every product is for the sale, but they are kind of PR activity as well.
yes,
And this is a, you must also utilize whenever you are working on your new project, just to get the buzz, get the kind of viral feel of the product. You could also work on something very weird kind of stuff.
yes.
So,
For an example, sorry
mhm,
to cut you. For an example, we've seen many designers. Like we've seen, like when I was in college, I never used to get that those weird looking garments that
mm,
people can never wear or go outside wearing those. But now I realize that even if you're seeing those garments, and if you have researched just for once, okay,
mm,
let me see who is this weird looking designer is. In your head, it is You wanted to see that who is this weird designer, right?
Yeah.
You searched for it.
Exactly.
That means that designer is gaining something.
Hmm. Great. So, how you is there any specific way that you present your inspiration, like the mood board that you talked about? So, any kind of your own original idea of working on inspiration, or you just have something that we always have used, like work just worked on the kind of mood board and pasted all inspiration, or how you organize those inspirations? Is there any specific way from your end?
There are some, but it doesn't go with every collection.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Basically, if I'll give you an example, so what happens in if this project goes back to my Household 4 thing. Basically, I wanted to create the look of the villain from that
Mm-hmm.
movie, and in my head, I had the vision clear, but somehow I was not being able to take it out on piece of paper. It might sound very weird, but as I was exiting from my factory, I saw a dead mouse
Mm-hmm.
actually, and his stomach was everywhere. It was
Hmm.
all the the mouse was all skin with
Mm-hmm.
his fur, with its fur. So I got inspired from that. I don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
it felt very weird. I just kept on looking at it for
Okay.
like a minute or something like that, and I felt weird and inspired. I was like, this is something strange. I do not know
Hmm.
what, but it feels very strange. The very next day, I came in, I started sketching. I had
Mm-hmm.
that furry skin in my head and all the scattered pieces of the mouse. And I used that as an inspiration. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of the mouse skin, we used leather and
Okay.
leather skin mostly, and leathers with a little hair, a little with
Mm-hmm.
little fur. So yes, our inspiration comes not only from the textile or books or the images we see. It can be and it can be from nature as well. I mean,
Okay.
ultimately everything is coming out from nature. And
Mm-hmm.
I still remember I made a collection also where my main color was inspired
Mm-hmm.
from algae, a particular
Okay.
particular kind of algae.
Yeah.
I've taken a vacation to
Biomimicry kind of stuff.
yes. So I've taken a vacation to Kedarnath, and
Mm-hmm.
during that time, during the trek of Kedarnath, I saw a stone where the algae was growing, and the color was very fresh. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't neon; it wasn't a normal green. So I
Yeah.
took a picture of that, and then that particular set of colors it stood in my head. And when I went back to my office after my vacation, so I showed them the picture. I put that particular picture in my theme board, and everything was revolving around that
Mm-hmm.
particular color and the shape of the algae. And somehow, some point, at some time of your life when you must have been kid. So, have you noticed when you look to the sky and the cloud used to make certain kind of shapes, right?
Yeah.
And you used to make certain kind of shape in your head, that this
Yeah.
particular cloud look like a dog or this particular cloud look like a camel. So just like that, that particular swatch of algae, a picture of algae had many shapes in
Mm-hmm.
it. So that's how every collection or everything in our life is inspired from nature itself.
Okay. So, how you work on your textile basically? So, you have your theme. So, do you visualize like, okay, this is the way that the textile should be, the texture, the feeling, the surface feeling should be, or you just go and select the already available, fabrics out of the market? or you develop your own fabrics if you're not able to find something that you have in your mind?
I basically, for my first intention is to develop my own fabrics
Mm-hmm.
or my own prints or my own particular textile, because
Mm-hmm.
that is that is what fulfills my creatives inside. Like that is
Mm-hmm.
how I get, I see myself like, yes, I've done something, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm calling myself a designer, and I am just selecting ready to made fabrics, ready to made prints out from the market, then mm, it's of no use. Then maybe I cannot put out my collection as powerful, the vision I have in my head. So for being different, yes, the first priority that we have is to make everything from scratch. And yes, but time plays a very major role in that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a certain time period for our research work. We have certain time period for stitching of our silhouettes, and certain time frame for every collection to be prepared
Develop.
and get it out there, right? Develop.
Mm-hmm.
So our initial process is to develop the prints on our own, selecting certain prints and then tweaking and twisting them. And now to it's time, uh, in now times we have very many uh, software for making
Mm-hmm.
prints or making uh,
Yeah.
sketches and all, right? Digitally.
Mm-hmm.
So we digitally make most of our prints.
Okay.
90% of our prints we make digitally,
Mm-hmm.
and some that if we are restrained uh, by the time, so some we select from out there. And yes, we did do tweak some of them. We
Mm-hmm.
just don't copy paste directly from internet.
Okay.
But that won't be right. It somehow
Yeah.
doesn't feel right with artists or with designers. So we make sure we tweak some every element that we have picked. And
Yeah.
it also plays a major role, because after tweaking that particular element into our framework of our particular collection and the theme, then it has to fit right in the collection. That's also why we tweak the certain every element. Not
Exactly.
certain, we have to tweak every element because it has to fit right in.
Yeah. So you have worked on the fabric. Now, the most important part of any collection is selecting the right color. So, how you start working on the color for the seasonal development? Like how you decide, okay, we should move with this particular color, or is there any random way of selection of the color, or you just uh, compare or something that okay, this is the color that we should move on. So what are the your methodology in that case?
Actually, uh, seasons play a very major role in
Mm-hmm.
selection of the colors. As I say, as I was saying, in summers you cannot uh, really wear darker colors because it will make you look very hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in those same ways, it's the same process for selecting our colors for every particular collection. It goes 50-50. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot just be dependent on the seasonal colors fully, because then we won't be able to present what we have in our mind. But yet we have to make sure uh, mm, we don't select too many of the colors that is going off from the season. Like we cannot have many blacks in our collection, but a collection will look incomplete without even a single black
Hmm.
outfit. So yes, it's very contemporary way of selecting the colors. It depends on the season. It depends on the mood of of the collection. Basically, what we wanted to present. If I wanted to present a very hardcore, couture, aesthetically right, um, heritage collection, right? So I cannot choose all of the pastel colors.
Mm.
It just won't be right. Heritage means very. in depth colors,
Regal kind of
very
colors,
regal, very regal
mostly
colors.
red, dark blood red, and all kind of
Yes,
stuff.
teal green, midnight blue.
Yeah. Parvesh, your voice is not coming up. I'm not able to hear your voice.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe there's some correct
Hmm.
something with the mic.
Okay.
So yeah, every collection, it depends on the mood. It depends on the it depends on the mood. It depends on the season.
Again, your voice is not coming.
Charged up.
अभी आया था. Not charged.
अभी आ रहा है क्या?
Hmm.
Better now?
Hmm.
Is better, right? नहीं. Sorry, so where were we?
Hmm. Okay.
Hmm. Where were we lastly?
Okay. So हम लोग थे. The colors basically you choose.
Collection.
Yeah. So it's all about. So suppose that in last season you have already worked on particular colors,
Hmm.
right? So are you again going to push those colors, or you're going to change something in that?
Um, See, every person has some category of favorite colors. It can be
Mhm.
uh, it can be certain tones as well. Like some people like darker, working on darker tones. Some people like working on lighter tones. Some people have reds as their favorite color. The collection needs to have the red colors in them. But yes, it we can um, sorry, we can any which ways repeat the colors, but as I was saying, it can be certain tints and tones of that also. If I choose certain colors in the summer seasons, I won't be choosing those particular colors in winters, but some part of that can come. Like for an example, if I've selected 6 to 7 colors in my winter season, and if I'm really liking black or maroon or red, so, and if I'm again going to take 7 or 8 colors in summer season, so I'll initially take certain colors from my previous seasons. I can take one or two, and maybe I can change the tints and tones of that. If I'm if
Mhm.
I'm too much into black, like I just love working with black, so I can change
Mhm.
tints and tones of the black, or be it red, or be it any colors. I can repeat the
Mhm.
colors, and it also depends on my uh, will that how much intensity of the colors I'm going to use, or
Hmm.
where and in which form I'm going to repeat those colors. For an example, let's say in my previous collection, color red was the main emphasis of my previous
Hmm.
collection. Like I've used reds in everywhere. Like I made a sari of entirely red colors, or I made an
Mhm.
outfit of entirely red colors. And if I'm in too much love with the red colors, and if I still wanted to use that red color in my current collection, so I might not use it to make entirely big, uh, like the entire garments of the red color. I might use it in somewhere, like maybe using it in certain swatches, certain patchwork, or giving the highlights of red colors. I can repeat the colors, but it's also depend how, when, and why I wanted to use that.
Okay. So now we have our colors, we have our fabrics. Next, we're gonna work on our silhouettes, the prints
Yes.
and all. So how you start working on your prints? Basically, you said like you will be using the softwares to develop the prints,
Yes.
or do you have any other methods like how you take the attributes of the print? So suppose that you are currently wearing this kind of animal print
Animal
shirt.
prints. Yes.
Yeah. So how you will decide like okay we should be having this particular black and white and little bit you know neutral tones in this animal print shirt. So what's gonna be your method like? So might be you might be looking to replace this black
Mhm.
in your shirt, or how you gonna develop this particular print for that particular season.
If I would have been developing a animal print collection,
Mm-hmm.
so first of all, we do a research work of the and prints that out there. So
Mm-hmm.
I would have not just stick with one print. If I would have been wearing this shirt uh,
Mm-hmm.
made by myself, it would have been a mix and match of different animal prints. Could have
Okay.
been jaguar print as well inside
Mm-hmm.
it. It could have been um snake prints, snake skin, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start off working with prints, we see what are the key elements we wanted to use. For an
Mm-hmm.
example, uh, if I got a particular flower, if I saw a particular flower on internet or maybe out there, I like the
Mm-hmm.
shape of the particular flower or the way it has been presented, but I'm not very much satisfied with the colors, the color combination of it. So what we
Mm-hmm.
do, we usually sketch off our uh, the shape of the particular flowers. Then
Mm-hmm.
we uh, work either we work with the hand paints, we do the painting ourselves, and we put the particular sets of colors that we are using in the collection,
Mm-hmm.
or we develop it entirely with softwares, whatever
Okay.
colors we wanted to put it in.
Mm-hmm.
That solves also a purpose for us. Like if we are like we see if I saw a particular flower which is this much smaller,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to uh, put it on a garment on let's say 20 to 20, 12 to 20 inches big, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make that flower as an emphasis of the garment. So I cannot use that as image of the smaller flower or a picture of the smaller
Mm-hmm.
flower. So then we
Yeah.
usually start making or sketching that particular flower in that size only. And then
Okay.
we put the colors of the collection, selected colors of the collection in that particular flowers. And we may uh, tweak certain shapes of it, or we make bunches of it. So that's how it has been done. Every element that we take, we remake it in our according to our shapes and visualizations, and we put colors of the collection in it so that it goes off with the collection. It
Okay.
can be hand painted, it can be digitally painted,
Mm-hmm.
it can be anything as much as it is just serving the purpose.
Mm-hmm. So what are some software that you can recommend to develop the prints?
Oh, these days, if you are uh, like in colleges, we we usually started off with Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah.
Adobe Photoshop is It's one of the greatest software out there. And nowadays, though, it's uh, tutorials are available on internet everywhere. You do not have to take any uh, classes, or you do not have to
Yeah.
join any colleges just to learn them. You just
Yeah.
need to have that will to learn.
Yeah.
There are many classes, free classes going on YouTube that I've learned myself. I've learned so many things out there.
Mm-hmm.
One is Adobe Photoshop, and then Corel Draw was there. But Corel Draw usually don't people use it now.
Yeah.
It has gone into the market where people don't usually make prints on that. There's
Mm-hmm.
Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator are way much more handy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
nowadays, since Apple has arrived, there's a very beautiful software called Procreate.
Procreate.
It's yes, I feel it's an amalgamation of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator in just one.
Mm-hmm.
And and uh, the beautiful part of the software is you can use those particular files in Procreate and in Adobe Photoshop at the same
Okay.
time. You can make changes in any of the files that you want to do.
Okay. Great. So we have now our uh, prints and the fabrics and the colors. So your next step is to develop your product,
Yes.
the silhouette. So basically, what are the key ideas that actually inspires you to develop your silhouette?
If
So
I talk
where?
about myself,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, if I talk about myself, I actually wanted to really answer that question because nobody has asked me this one, and I really wanted to get it out from my system. So in my case, I believe lines plays a very major role.
Mm-hmm.
If I've heard this somewhere, like a simple line drawn by an artist, it really tells about the whole story of the artist. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say if I'm making a blouse
Mm-hmm.
or just a simple t-shirt. If I'm making a simple t-shirt, the so each
Mm-hmm.
stroke of my pencil
Mm-hmm.
will tell a different story. There's a
Yeah.
reason why my collars are going to be a little tweaked or
Mm-hmm.
it is going a little round.
Mm.
So everything is a smallest part of the garment, a smallest sketched part of the garment is connected with the entire garment.
Mm-hmm.
For an example, if I'm making my collar, if this collar is going to be very uh, round looking,
Mm-hmm.
so it would have been a very soft collar, like
Yeah.
looking at it, it would have not made that statement.
Yeah.
For once, I'm wearing a printed animal printed shirt, and my collars are round. So animal print itself is a very bold statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And round collar just don't. I don't. For me, it just doesn't go with it. So each stroke of the silhouette in the sketch explains so much about the silhouette, and it doesn't just we doesn't just stop at making silhouettes on our sketchboard.
Mm-hmm.
After making the sketches, then we usually uh, make those lines on our croquis or our dummies as well
Yeah.
to make sure that whatever I have sketched on the paper, it is actually going to look on a person. And how are we going to be sure of is by sketching the every lines of it on the dummy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the blouse doesn't go too deep, or the t-shirt just doesn't go up. So everything has to be very proportional so
Mm-hmm.
that my garment will look just right. Everything has to look right.
So basically, how you decide that okay, this particular place the line should be shifted, right? So suppose that you're developing your T-shirt or the blouse or anything. So you just talked about you are very careful about putting the lines on a particular part of the bodies. So how you decide it, like okay, here I should be emphasizing, focusing on the thing that the kind of people gonna buy this product, or how you make the things like.
To me, it feels like it has to look right. It has to look very balanced. You see, uh, it's the one of the blessing of being an artist is you visualize the end product.
Mm-hmm.
So it just have to look right. I I don't I don't know if I can explain this because uh, it just have to balance out the entire garment.
Mm-hmm.
We just know, okay, this particular set, this particular line of my garment, or the broader collar, or the voluminous sleeve will look good in on my blouse or my gown.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to make sure it looks right. It doesn't look goofy, you know. That's how we create our silhouettes. That's how we sketch it out.
Mm-hmm.
I know I myself make a sketch. Sometimes it takes me 2 days to make a right sketch. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we don't get the inspiration. Sometimes we have a creative block or many things. It occurs while making a collection.
Mm-hmm.
But drawing the perfect line, we just know it just feels right. That's I think that's the answer to it. It just feels
So
right.
basically, uh, as an artist, you cannot answer it properly, but you know where to put the lines, basically.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think this comes with experience, basically.
Yes.
As you
Just
grow,
like just like our moms,
yeah,
whenever she cooks in the kitchen,
yeah,
she knows what
yeah.
particular
What is the right
spice amount
kind of,
of
yeah,
spice,
how
right?
much
What
salt
particular
that we
spice
need to
goes in
put?
that? Yes.
Yeah,
One cannot explain that. It
yeah.
just feels right. It's the
And
love.
you
It's
can
the
just say,
love
okay, this
toward
is the
art.
particular salt that we need to put. This is the right
Yes.
time that we need to, you know, work on our mixture of the spices, how long that we need to cook. So basically, it's all come with experience, and this
Experience,
is
and
where,
I think when you love your whatever you're doing, the God will grace you with that vision.
yeah,
I think you firstly need to love whatever you're doing right now. If you're all the time cribbing, okay, I don't like what I'm doing, I don't like my sketch, then it just doesn't come out. It won't come out. But if I'm in love with that process, like I really love sketching. It's one of the uh, reasons why I am a fashion designer because
mm,
I just love sketching.
yeah.
So one needs to love the process to get the things right.
So basically, sometimes there's a quotation like there's a kind of we become blind with the love. So sometimes it might be feel like that. Okay, I'm just loving my idea, loving my sketch, loving my design. So sometimes it could be misleading as well.
Yes, yes. Then you have your team telling you that, okay, sir,
They
ma'am,
are,
this doesn't look right. And in those times, sometimes you have to hold your anger so much and still you have to,
yeah,
answer it politely. Okay, tell me why doesn't it look right? We get blinded by our love. It
yeah,
happens with every person. Okay, I made this. How doesn't it look good?
yeah, obviously.
So we also have to listen to others. We
Hmm.
have to take in mind what are the suggestions has been given by our seniors or by our juniors because we are just seeing from two sets of eyes, right?
Yeah,
But each person is coming from a different background. Each person has a different story in their head, and we are just seeing one particular product that we are working on. But and our distance can be differ, right? Maybe we are too much involved in one particular project that we are unable to see all the other aspects of the collection.
yeah,
It happens sometimes. Not sometimes. It happens mostly. Like we sometimes surpasses the costing of a particular garment. Why? Because we wanted to make it look so fabulous. We just don't care whether it sells or not. But ultimately, it has to sell.
Yeah, obviously. So there's always something that involves the consumer's emotion. Whoever gonna buy the product,
Hmm.
everyone just not they gonna buy the product that okay, everybody's wearing. Every decision making is out of the emotion. So whenever you're
Yes.
developing your product, it should have the emotion in it. So how much percentage of the you know consumer emotion that you try to put into your product, how you decide okay, this particular emotion should be added into the your design, your development, in your silhouettes. So kind of, can you give some idea like in that?
Basically, it's 100% all. It's all the game of the emotions. For an
Mm-hmm.
example, let me give you a very beautiful example.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm making a particular garment for a
Mm-hmm.
20-year-old girl, right?
Yeah.
So she would like to wear some very bright colors. She won't be
Mm-hmm.
wearing those very dingy, dark, or very serious colors, right?
Yeah.
If I'm making a particular set of a garment for an occasion, let's say haldi,
Hmm.
I cannot give her a garment which is all black. Be it can be as beautiful as it can be, but it just doesn't serve the purpose.
Hmm.
And at the same, if I'm making a particular set of a garment for a mother of a bride,
Hmm.
so I will use certain sets of colors, right? That will show the emotions of a mother, motherly emotions, right? It and that garment just I cannot make it look very deep. It can't be very revealing, right? Because that won't
Yeah.
be right. If that mother is walking down the aisle by her daughter,
Yeah.
so that won't be a right thing. So it's 100% game of an emotion. How we
Hmm.
choose our colors, it's basically based on our emotions and the seasons. Season is also an emotion, right?
Yeah.
You like to drink certain kind of a tea in certain weather. You like to eat certain kind of food in certain weather. So
Hmm.
it's all based 100% it's based on the emotions. If I'm making a garment for a youngster, that time in my head there's a different picture. There's a different emotion how I'm going to making the garment. If I'm making a very serious garment of a
Hmm.
elderly person, then it's an altogether a different picture in my head.
Hmm.
Different sets of colors, different sets of design sensibilities. I need to make sure that the garment doesn't just go too much revealing or it doesn't just go too much tight to the body. It's a set of emotions. Well, so
Yeah. So basically,
basically, the entire design process is a sets of emotions.
yeah. And so basically this is quite interesting in whenever we start working on the style development, we develop the silhouettes that actually emphasize the consumer's personality.
Hmm.
So as you said, like we need to work, we need to have the experience to add the perfect lines.
Yes.
And according to me, I would not just say the lines only, just you need to also place the prints at the right part of
Yes, yes, it, it, it,
silhouette as
it
well.
goes in everything. It goes in everything.
Yeah. So I think with the experience, people can understand like how we need to work on the kind of placement of the on the of the lines on the product, the prints, the right color combination. So if you want to have the more insights how you want to work on your next collection, I'm sure Parvesh can actually help you.
Oh, I would
it,
love
it's
to. I
it's
would love
just
to.
like if he has the time only, and since he's kind of very busy, uh, I will have to look into with him to work out like how he can manage his time to work on with you guys to make you get more confident on putting those ideas into the your next product development. So I think this is kind of enough of our today's discussion.
To
And
be very honest, I would love to help out people. Like
mhm,
I if this kind of a scene would have been there when I started my journey,
mhm,
it would have been very easier for me.
hmm, yeah,
It would have taken me less number of years
yeah,
if I had a role model for myself, right?
exactly. So this is actually the problem with all the people, those who are actually starting new. They do not have the people to teach them, to
Hmm.
guide them, like how they should develop their skills. Basically, they all
Hmm.
know all the things. They go by to all the company, they gain the experience in
Yes.
particular timeline. So basically after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, you feel like, okay, now I'm little bit gaining the skills. But if somebody is there that they can actually teach you those 5 to 8 years of experience in a month, or in a 2 month, or in a less than 6 month, you are actually saving your those 6 to 7 years actually.
Hmm.
And this is why I think Parvesh is kind of very experienced person, having the experience with working with the major big projects, from Houseful Fort, Padmavat, and to some Netflix movies kind of stories. So this is all about our today's discussion, and in our next discussion with Parvesh, we're gonna work on discussion on how to start your business of fashion. This is going to be really very interesting topic, and here we both gonna discuss on some kind of aspects of the fashion. Since my experience is in fashion marketing and fashion development, developing the product, developing the business, the new ideas. So with Parvesh and we're gonna discuss how you can work on your, business, how you can get the success in your business. So this is all about today's discussion. Thank you
Hmm.
for watching it.
Thank you.
Let's meet another day. Yeah, ठीक है परवेश, आज का हमारा